The much-anticipated day of the social party finally dawned, and the excitement permeated the air as we made our way to Roman's room. There, amidst an array of clothing choices, Roman turned to Hans, seeking guidance on his attire for the evening. In a burst of enthusiasm, Hans shared the significance of the event. It was Roman's first official gathering since his disengagement, a momentous occasion that demanded careful consideration in the wardrobe department. Hans, ever the fashion enthusiast, insisted that Roman couldn't just wear anything. He envisioned a look that would not only reflect Roman's stature, but also make a statement about his newfound freedom. As Roman mulled over the suggested outfit, Hans's excitement gave way to a subtle unease. He had poured his heart and soul into creating this dress, hoping to capture the essence of Roman's personality and the symbolism of the occasion. The hesitation in Roman's eyes sparked a flicker of sadness in Hans, as he feared his creation might not see the light of day. After a brief internal debate, Roman agreed to don the outfit, a decision that brought immense relief and joy to Hans. The scene transitioned outside, where a carriage awaited. Chris, standing by, grew visibly agitated as Kevin arrived fashionably late. Kevin, seemingly unfazed, attributed his tardiness to the struggle of donning armor. Chris, however, couldn't shake off the disbelief that lingered in his eyes. Despite Roman's assistance, Kevin had managed to outshine him, a fact that gnawed at Chris's competitive spirit. In a stern yet paternal tone, Chris emphasized the gravity of their roles as lieges, escorts, and representatives of the Dimitry house. He cautioned Kevin against impulsive decisions and urged him to be mindful of his words. The reputation of Dimitry, a powerhouse in the Northeast, rested on their shoulders. Chris, while acknowledging Kevin's capabilities, stressed the importance of measured actions and wise choices. Kevin, ever the eager learner, responded with excitement. He respectfully addressed Chris as Sir Knight, a gesture that brought a genuine smile to Chris's face. As the mentor-apprentice dynamic solidified, Chris reassured Kevin, encouraging him to seek guidance whenever uncertain. Grateful for the advice, Kevin expressed his thanks, ready to navigate the complexities of the evening under Chris's seasoned guidance. The narrative then shifted to the opulent Barco Palace, where the social elite had gathered. Amidst the clinking of glasses and the hum of conversation, guests discussed Roman's unexpected participation in the Barco party. They couldn't fathom why Roman, having broken off a political marriage he had fervently pushed for, would now be present at an event hosted by the very house he had seemingly rejected. Critics, quick to judge, labeled Roman a moron, questioning his decision-making abilities. The conversation pivoted to the intricate web of political relationships involving Dimitry and Barco. The Dimitry family's position, once clear-cut, now seemed ambiguous due to Roman's actions. While acknowledging the greediness inherent in maintaining ties with Barco, guests conceded that Roman's presence was an attempt to rectify his past mistakes. In the midst of a lively social gathering, a blonde girl found herself intrigued by the discussions surrounding a certain Roman Dimitry. Curiosity getting the better of her, she turned to the guy next to her, seeking insights into the enigmatic character everyone seemed to be talking about. The guy, perhaps not the biggest fan of Roman, responded with a touch of cynicism. He suggested that she would form her own opinion when she met him, but shared his own less than impressive view. According to him, Roman left a terrible impression, and his unremarkable appearance, particularly his small stature, did little to redeem him in the eyes of this observer. As the chatter continued, a butler's announcement cut through the conversation, declaring the arrival of the eldest son of the Dimitry family. The news sent a ripple of surprise through the gathering, leaving everyone anticipating the entrance of the talked-about Roman. The atmosphere brimmed with a mix of skepticism and curiosity. And then, like a burst of unexpected sunshine, Roman made his grand entrance. A dazzling smile adorned his face, and an air of confidence emanated from him, shocking the assembled guests. He defied their preconceived notions, appearing vastly different from the image they had painted in their minds. It was a moment of collective disbelief as Roman shattered the expectations, particularly regarding his height, and left everyone questioning their earlier assessments. The blonde girl who had been inquiring about Roman found herself drawn to him. Seizing the opportunity, she approached him directly. With a warm smile, Roman graciously acknowledged her presence. Sophia, introducing herself as a member of the Grizzle family, expressed that her family might not be well known, but her father, Baron Grizzle, dedicated his life to the kingdom of Cairo. Roman, still wearing that disarming smile, assured Sophia that he was well aware of the Grizzle family. This revelation touched Sophia deeply. She couldn't help but feel a connection, appreciating Roman's familiarity with her family's history. Roman, reflecting on this encounter, recognized the importance of understanding the legacies of the families he would encounter. In a flashback to the library scene, we saw Hans, Roman's confidant, providing him with detailed information on all the northeastern families. Hans, ever curious, questioned Roman's sudden interest in such specifics. Roman, with a sense of responsibility befitting his role as the representative of the Dimitry family, explained his rationale. He believed that equipping himself with knowledge about each person's background and legacy was essential. Roman understood that such efforts were crucial, especially given his less than flattering reputation as the moron of Dimitry. Returning to the present, Roman continued his conversation with Sophia. He shared additional insights about her family's long-standing presence in the Northeast and highlighted the Grizzle family's renown for producing high-quality lumber in the Kingdom of Cairo. It was a subtle yet effective way of demonstrating Roman's awareness and respect for the various families and their contributions. Roman caught wind of Sophia's sibling achieving a significant feat in sensing mana, prompting him to congratulate Sophia on her family's success. The unexpected depth of Roman's knowledge about her family left Sophia pleasantly surprised. As they engaged in lively conversation, other nobles observed the exchange, captivated by the genuine and animated interaction between Roman and Sophia. Witnessing the scene unfold, additional nobles were drawn to Roman, eager to introduce themselves and partake in the conversation. The lively atmosphere surrounding Roman became a magnet, attracting the attention and curiosity of those in attendance. Roman, ever gracious, seamlessly transitioned between conversations, piquing the interest of those he engaged with. Amidst the social interactions, Roman found himself face to face with a noble who happened to be the eldest son of Volt. Expressing his disbelief at the chance encounter, Roman went on to commend Viscount Volt for his remarkable accomplishments in past battles. The eldest son of Volt, initially taken aback by Roman's familiarity with his family's history, expressed gratitude for Roman's kind words. Roman's ability to connect on a personal level and showcase awareness of each noble's background began to shape a positive perception of him within the gathering. However, the pleasant social atmosphere took an unexpected turn when a butler entered, delivering news that Lord Baron Anthony had requested Roman's presence in the back room. Sensing that this could be an opportunity to address a lingering issue, Roman contemplated the impending meeting with a mix of curiosity and determination. The scene then transitioned to the outside, where the escorts and knights of nobles awaited developments. In a parallel storyline, Kevin, one of the escorts, sought clarification from Chris, the senior knight, about the nature of a social party. Chris, perhaps jaded by their societal standing, dismissed the idea of them ever attending such an event and advised against taking an interest in it. This exchange caught the attention of two knights who had overheard the conversation and considered Chris and Kevin as inconsequential. Rumors surrounding Roman's status as the abandoned eldest son circulated, and the knights couldn't fathom why Roman would bring an inexperienced escort like Kevin, someone seemingly incapable of wielding a sword properly. Despite Chris's counsel to ignore the disparaging comments, the knights persisted in taunting them. They asserted that the Dimitry family paled in comparison to the influence of the Barkos. In response, Kevin, wearing a serious expression, advanced towards the taunting knights, prepared to confront the disrespect they were hurling their way. The scene seamlessly shifts back to the lively party, where Roman makes his way into a discreet back room to meet with Anthony Barco. Anthony's expression lights up with happiness and surprise upon seeing Roman, prompting a natural curiosity about the changes that had taken place in Roman's life during their time apart. As Roman settles into the conversation, he inwardly notes that Anthony is the person who has been causing him distress. Taking a seat across from each other, Anthony initiates the dialogue, expressing both joy and skepticism at the notable transformation he observes in Roman. There's an air of curiosity around Anthony as he wonders aloud about the events that transpired in Roman's life during the period they hadn't crossed paths. In the dimly lit room adorned with lingering traces of prior occupants, Roman keenly observes the glasses on the table. The fact that Anthony cleared the room for Roman's arrival suggests a confidential conversation lies ahead. Eager to create an atmosphere of comfort, Roman responds candidly. He confesses uncertainty about the changes within himself, acknowledging a time when he used to spend extravagantly to engineer a new identity. However, now, transformation seems to occur organically, without conscious effort. Despite the uncertainty, Roman expresses genuine pleasure at the prospect of reuniting with Anthony. As the conversation unfolds, Anthony tells Roman that he thinks Roman could interpret it positively because, honestly, Anthony didn't know what Roman was thinking at that time. Roman then asks Anthony what he means. He recounts a time when Roman, entangled in a political marriage with the Lawrence family and enjoying amicable relations with the Barkos, was discovered in a compromising situation with Anthony's cousin in a back room during a social gathering. Anthony expresses astonishment and concern, questioning Roman's judgment, particularly with his impending marriage hanging in the balance. This revelation adds layers to the narrative. In the present moment, Anthony interprets Roman's participation in the current party as a form of confirmation regarding a proposal Anthony had in mind. He assures Roman that the indiscretion in the back room will remain shrouded in secrecy, emphasizing the need to move forward and discuss Roman's impending marriage to the Barko family. As Anthony lays out his intentions, Roman's mind becomes a canvas, painting vivid memories of the old Roman who, at one point, felt betrayed by Anthony Barko and sought a political alliance with the Lawrence family. As the narrative unfolds, the older version of Roman realizes that he can't continue evading the repercussions of his past actions. Viewing the upcoming gathering as an opportunity to mend broken relationships, he decides to confront Anthony Barko, the individual who has been a source of frustration. At the latest party, Anthony warmly introduces Roman to his cousin, Emily Barko. In an attempt to ease Roman into the social setting, Anthony encourages him to join them for a drink. Being Roman's first time at such an event, Anthony wants to ensure he feels welcome. As they settle down and begin to drink, Emily, in a gesture of hospitality, tries to pour a drink for Roman. However, displaying a sense of independence, Roman stops her, insisting on pouring his own drink. Anthony teases Roman about potentially showing off, alluding to Roman's upcoming marriage to Flora Lawrence. This revelation unsettles Roman, but Anthony quickly reassures him that the Barko family no longer holds any concern for the Lawrence family, alleviating some of Roman's unease. Anthony, adopting a carefree attitude, urges Roman to cast aside his worries and enjoy the evening. However, as the night progresses, Roman wakes up in bed with Emily, utterly bewildered as he lacks any recollection of the events leading up to that moment. To complicate matters further, Anthony walks in and is immediately incensed upon discovering Roman with his cousin. Anthony steers Roman to a seat and addresses him sternly, stating that he doesn't care about Roman's romantic entanglements. Still, laying hands on a member of the Barko family is deemed unacceptable. In a decisive moment, Anthony presents Roman with two options. The first involves exposing the truth about the night's events, leading to Roman's unilateral disengagement. The second, more unexpected choice requires Roman to marry a direct descendant of the Barko family to repair the fractured relationship between the Dimitry and Barko families. The shock of this ultimatum leaves Roman speechless, and Anthony, with a subtle smirk, conveys his anger at Roman's actions while offering forgiveness if Roman embraces the Barko family fully. The weight of this decision now rests heavily on Roman's shoulders. Fast forward to the present, where the current version of Roman, having experienced the passage of time, gains a fuller understanding of the events that unfolded with his older self. The puzzle pieces fall into place as he comprehends the consequences of past actions. The impending disintegration of the marriage due to Roman's indiscretions with a collateral descendant of the Barko family has severe implications. The honor of the Dimitry family faces a precipitous decline, casting a long shadow over Roman's realization of the gravity of his past choices. Meanwhile, the old Roman, likely overwhelmed by the prospect of facing his father's wrath, stood at a crossroads. Torn between duty and love, he grappled with a decision that would shake the course of his life. Old Roman's heart was tethered to Flora, a love that seemed to transcend the boundaries of social expectations. Yet the patriarchal expectations of his time loomed heavily over him, stifling the confidence needed to confront his father. Faced with an impossible choice, old Roman couldn't bring himself to break off the marriage he had forcibly established. The fear of defaming Flora in the process became an insurmountable obstacle. Trapped in a cycle of despair, old Roman saw only one way out. The weight of societal norms, coupled with his own internal turmoil, pushed him to the brink of desperation. In a tragic turn of events, he chose to end his life, hoping that his death would untangle the complicated web he found himself in. It was a decision born out of a desire for resolution, a belief that his sacrifice could somehow make everything right. However, the legacy of old Roman's choices cast a long shadow. In the eyes of the current Roman, he saw not a tragic figure, but a weak man who had accomplished nothing on his own strength. To the current Roman, this was a pathetic tale of a man who succumbed to the pressures of society. Amidst this internal conflict, Anthony Barko emerged as a pivotal figure. He approached Roman, highlighting the significance of a union between the Dimitrys and the Barkos. Anthony painted a picture of political upheaval in the northeastern region, with Roman positioned to wield absolute power. It was a proposal that could alter the course of history, yet Roman found himself unable to accept it. Roman, bound by his principles, refused the political marriage proposal. To him, the idea of leveraging such a union for personal gain was unacceptable. Anthony, however, had a different perspective. He warned Roman that rejecting the proposal would lead to the exposure of a hidden truth, a secret that could tarnish the Dimitry family's reputation irreparably. Undeterred by this threat, Roman stood firm. He dismissed the idea that the Dimitry family needed to accept the Barco family's proposal for the sake of avoiding scandal. Later, at a social gathering, Roman found himself caught in the delicate dance of social obligations and personal convictions. Explaining to Sophia that he had an urgent matter to attend to, he regretfully announced his early departure. Despite Sophia's disappointment, Roman assured her that they would meet again when the opportune moment presented itself. As Roman made his exit, the atmosphere shifted abruptly. A sudden commotion pierced the air, drawing Roman's attention. Shock washed over him as he witnessed Barco knights attacking Kevin. In the midst of the medieval drama, the narrative takes a step back to a critical moment that unfolded a few hours earlier. Kevin, catching wind of the Barco knights, felt a surge of indignation and resolved to confront them. However, Chris, his level-headed companion, intervened, urging Kevin to endure the provocation. The tension escalated as two Barco knights, embodying the epitome of arrogance, approached the duo, ridiculing Kevin for his comically ill-fitting helmet. Chris, never one to shy away from a verbal skirmish, retorted with a cutting remark. He questioned whether the knights of Barco honed their skills in mockery rather than the art of the sword. Unfazed, one of the Barco knights boasted about his superior swordsmanship compared to Kevin and took the opportunity to disparage their liege as a moron. The verbal duel reached its climax as Kevin, fiercely protective of his liege, young Master Roman, demanded a retraction of the disrespectful remarks. In a swift turn of events, the Barco knight responded not with words, but with a resounding punch to Kevin's face. Shocked but undeterred, Chris instinctively moved to draw his sword. However, a moment of realization halted him in his tracks. The Dimitry family, to which Chris and Kevin belonged, was currently entangled in a delicate conflict of interest with the Barco family. Chris hesitated, recognizing that his actions could precipitate consequences not only for young Master Roman, but for the entire Dimitry lineage. As Kevin rose from the unexpected blow, he declared himself as his liege knight, expressing disdain for dealing with Barco thugs masquerading as knights. The Barco knight, reveling in his perceived triumph, prepared for another punch. Yet just before the blow could land, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Young Master Roman himself emerged from the shadows, intervening in a manner that left everyone dumbfounded. In an unprecedented move, Roman, typically reserved and composed, delivered a series of stinging slaps to the Barco knight's face. The Barco knight, unable to comprehend the abrupt turn of events, found himself on the receiving end of a humiliating display. Roman's repeated slaps left an indelible mark, both physically and symbolically, asserting his dominance and commanding the knight to raise his head with a menacing glare. The scene, akin to a theatrical crescendo, pivoted from the confrontation to Anthony Barco, the eldest son of the Barco family. His disbelief mirrored that of the readers as he grappled with the unexpected twist involving his kin and young Master Roman. The narrative then transported the audience back to the genesis of this conflict, a few hours earlier, when Anthony had confronted Roman. In a bold proposition, Anthony insisted that Roman take responsibility for allegedly laying hands on a lady of the Barco family. The proposed resolution? Marriage to a direct descendant of the Barco lineage. However, Roman staunchly refuses, wearing a self-assured smirk. He dismisses the potential fallout, claiming that being called a moron is nothing new, especially when he's already subjected to mistreatment. In a surprising twist, Roman challenges Anthony to conduct himself appropriately, emphasizing that Roman has chosen to terminate the proposed marriage on his terms, unaffected by Anthony's threats. Roman subtly hints at the Dimitry family's estrangement from the Lawrence family, suggesting that Anthony's desires have already been fulfilled in some measure. With a serious expression, Roman confronts Anthony, questioning whether he would go to the lengths of manipulating the Lawrence family merely to settle a personal vendetta against him, the eldest son of the Barcos. Anthony, taken aback by Roman's unexpected revelation, is left grappling with the implications of this newfound information. Roman, revealing a depth of strategic thinking, discloses that he has thoroughly researched the Barco family. While acknowledging their influential connections with the central government, Roman underscores that the Barco's power hinges solely on those affiliations. In a subtle power play, Roman asserts that, when considering wealth and influence, the true powerhouse in the Northeast is the Dimitry family, not the Barcos. With these revelations hanging in the air, Roman leaves Anthony to ponder the next course of action. Anthony informs Roman that once this issue is settled, Roman won't involve himself in the Lawrence family matters. Roman acknowledges this, and Anthony concludes by saying that this conversation is now finished. The sudden shift in Roman's demeanor, marked by a change not only in his facial expressions, but also in his actions, gaze, and tone, leaves Anthony bewildered and uncertain about how to proceed. As the tension thickens, a butler interrupts the contemplative atmosphere with urgent news. Roman and a Barco knight are engaged in a heated altercation. Outside, nobles gather to witness the unexpected spectacle. Roman, displaying a relentless resolve, continues to slap the Barco knight repeatedly. The knight, now desperate for reprieve, pleads for forgiveness and promises to refrain from repeating the offense. Kevin and Chris, familiar with Roman's fiery temperament, attempt to intervene, urging him to cease the punishment. However, Roman, unwavering, insists that he alone will determine when the Barco knight has faced adequate consequences for his actions. As the confrontation unfolds, Roman remains unyielding in his resolve, expressing a stark philosophy that if the Barco knight faces dire consequences for his words and actions, it's a price he must pay. Anthony Barco intervenes, insisting that Roman, despite his status as the eldest son of the Dimitry family, cannot engage in such behavior. Anthony demands an immediate apology from Roman for his actions. Roman challenges the necessity of an apology, pointing out that the Barco knight not only slandered him, but also laid hands on a member of the Dimitry family. He questions whether Anthony still believes Roman is the one at fault. Anthony, recognizing Roman's crossing of a line, recalls Roman's earlier warning about personal grudges affecting their family's relationship. In response, Roman shifts the responsibility back to Anthony, asserting that Anthony should be the one exercising restraint. Moving in close, Roman, with impatience in his tone, prompts Anthony to make a decision. Anthony, recollecting Roman's involvement in the conflict with Lawrence, reluctantly agrees that Roman is justified in his actions. He admits that he too would have meted out a similar punishment to the Barco knight. Roman smirks at the acknowledgement, commenting on their seemingly compatible understanding. He proceeds to deliver a lesson to the Barco knight. Afterward, Roman moves to the side to clean the blood off his hand. He then instructs Kevin and Chris to return to their carriage. Everyone present has no option but to accept the undeniable truth that the foolish Roman Dimitry they once knew no longer exists.